Have you ever felt like destiny was knocking, but it was cloaked in the most unexpected disguise? Today, we're diving deep into a story where an old ring unlocked the door to a forgotten past and an unbelievable future. David Miller, a man whose life mirrored the towering skyscrapers of Chicago he often gazed upon, was by all outward appearances a picture of success. At 52, he commanded a real estate empire, his name synonymous with luxury developments across the country. Yet, in the quiet of his opulent penthouse, a profound emptiness often echoed through the silent halls. He had all the trappings of wealth, but the one thing money couldn't buy, genuine connection, remained elusive. He'd carried a quiet ache for years, a void left by a loss he thought was permanent. On this particular evening, dining alone at a Michelin-starred restaurant, David twirled the unique signet ring on his finger, a family heirloom, passed down through generations of Millers. It was his anchor to a past he cherished, a reminder of roots, though its significance now felt tinged with a solitary melancholy. He was lost in thought when a young waitress, Lily Davis, approached his table. At 23, Lily possessed a quiet grace, her movements efficient and her smile genuine, if a little weary from a long shift. As she cleared a plate, her eyes, for a fleeting moment, caught sight of David's ring. A curious spark, a flicker of recognition, crossed her face. "Excuse me, sir," she began, her voice soft but clear. "I couldn't help but notice your ring. It's incredibly unique. My mom has one just like it." David's attention snapped from his reverie. He looked at Lily, then down at the intricate design of the ring, a winding river motif with a small, discreet diamond nestled within it. It was indeed unique, custom-made generations ago. His brow furrowed in confusion, then a ripple of something unidentifiable, curiosity mixed with a bizarre premonition, began to stir within him. This seemingly simple encounter, a casual remark from a young server, felt charged with an odd, almost ethereal energy. He had no idea then, but this seemingly innocent observation was the first tremor of an earthquake that would soon shatter the foundations of his carefully constructed life. What was this strange connection, and what secrets did it hold? Imagine believing you've buried a deep, personal sorrow, convinced a loved one is gone forever. Then, one ordinary day, a tiny detail emerges, hinting that everything you believed might just be a meticulously hidden secret. That's precisely where David Miller found himself. The question hung in the air between them, thick with an unspoken tension. "Your mother?" David asked, his voice a low rumble. "What's her name? And how old is she?" Lily, slightly taken aback by the sudden intensity in his gaze, replied simply, "Her name is Sarah Davis, and she's 47. The words hit David like a physical blow. The elegant restaurant, the hushed conversations of other diners, the clinking of cutlery, all faded into a distant hum. Sarah, and 47. His Sarah would have been 47. 5 years ago, David had received the devastating news that his beloved wife, Sarah, had died in a horrific car accident. The police report, the shattered wreckage, the funeral. It had all been meticulously documented, etched into his memory as the most painful chapter of his life. He'd grieved deeply, retreating into his work, building his empire as a monument to her memory, a distraction from the gnawing emptiness. Now, this young woman, a stranger, was standing before him, uttering a name and an age that precisely matched the woman he'd mourned for half a decade. It felt like a cruel joke, a figment of his imagination. "Do you have a picture?" David asked, his voice barely a whisper, his hand trembling slightly as he reached across the table. Lily, sensing the profound shift in his demeanor, though still unsure why, nodded. She pulled out her phone, navigating to her photo gallery, and handed it to him. As David's eyes landed on the image on the screen, the world around him spun. There she was, Sarah, her familiar smile, the gentle curve of her cheek, the unmistakable sparkle in her eyes. It was undeniably her. A wave of disbelief, followed by a surge of overwhelming hope so potent it almost brought him to his knees, washed over him. The woman he had loved, grieved, and believed lost forever was staring back at him from a digital screen, seemingly alive and well. Lily watched him, her initial confusion slowly morphing into alarm. She saw the raw emotion on his face, the way his knuckles turned white as he gripped the phone. "Sir, are you all right?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. David couldn't answer immediately. His mind raced, grappling with the impossible. Was this a trick? A cruel coincidence? Or was it a miracle? The sheer impossibility of it warred with the undeniable proof in his hands. This wasn't just a resemblance. It was Sarah. His Sarah. The woman he'd shared his life with, his dreams, his heart. This staggering revelation, this flicker of an impossible truth, was too monumental to ignore. The initial shock slowly began to give way to a desperate, burning need for answers. What was happening? How could this be? David knew, with an unshakable certainty that vibrated through his very bones, that he had to confront this mystery. He had to know the truth, no matter how painful or unbelievable it might be. Do you believe in the signs of destiny? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This initial encounter, this small, unassuming ring, had just set in motion a chain of events that would utterly upend David's carefully constructed world. It would lead them on an urgent quest for truth, a journey that would take them far from the bustling city lights of Chicago, deep into the quiet, picturesque landscape of the Pacific Northwest. Imagine secrets kept not out of malice, but out of love. But what's the true cost of such protection? With the shocking revelation hanging heavy in the air, David knew there was only one path forward. They had to find Sarah. Lily, still reeling but driven by a burgeoning hope and a desperate need for answers, agreed without hesitation. Together, they embarked on a journey that led them away from the towering steel and glass of Chicago, towards the serene, verdant landscapes of the Pacific Northwest, specifically to the charming, quiet town of Willow Creek, Oregon. It was a place known for its misty mornings, towering fir trees, and a sense of timeless peace, a stark contrast to the turbulent storm brewing in their hearts. They found Sarah living a simple, unassuming life, managing a small, cozy bookstore nestled amongst the town's quaint shops. The moment David saw her, standing there among shelves filled with stories, his breath hitched. She looked older, yes, etched with the quiet wisdom of years, but it was undeniably her. The reunion was a maelstrom of emotions, gasps, choked sobs, and a disbelief so profound it felt like a dream. Lily, caught between the shock of seeing her mother embrace a stranger with such raw emotion and the dawning realization of her own fragmented past, stood by, a silent witness to a moment decades in the making. Finally, seated in Sarah's small, comfortable living room, surrounded by books that seemed to absorb the heavy silence, Sarah began to speak. Her voice, soft at first, gained strength as she unraveled a story that felt ripped from the pages of a suspense novel. 25 years ago, David had been involved in some high-stakes, ethically questionable business dealings with a dangerous figure named Leo Rossi. Rossi was powerful, ruthless, and without a conscience. As David's ventures grew, so did the risks, and so did Rossi's grip. "Leo found out I was pregnant, David," Sarah confessed, her voice trembling, tears streaming down her face. "He came to me. He said if I didn't disappear, if I didn't make it look like I was gone forever, he would make sure both you and our unborn child would suffer. He threatened everything, David. My heart was shattered, but I knew I had to protect you. I had to protect her." She gestured towards Lily, whose face was a mask of shock, slowly contorting into anger. Sarah meticulously planned her death, staging a car accident that would leave no trace of her body, only enough evidence to confirm her demise. She left David with his grief, and Lily grew up without ever knowing her biological father, all while Sarah lived a life of quiet anonymity, always watching, always distant, fearing that Leo's shadow still loomed. She explained how she'd periodically followed David's career from afar, seen his successes, but never dared to make contact, terrified of putting them all in danger again. Lily's initial shock exploded into a torrent of anger. "You lied to me my whole life?" she cried, her voice cracking with pain. "Everything I believed about my father, about our family, was a lie." The weight of Sarah's sacrifice, the years of isolated fear, the agonizing decision to sever herself from everything she loved. It was an almost unbearable truth. David, reeling from the realization of Sarah's immense courage and the horrifying depth of Leo Rossi's threat, felt a profound regret. His past recklessness had forced the woman he loved to make such an unthinkable choice. If you were in Sarah's position, what would you have done? Share your thoughts. With the veil of secrecy finally lifted, the biggest question now remained. Could this fragmented family possibly mend such deep wounds and forge a new path together? Forgiveness is a journey, not a destination. And sometimes, to heal, we must first transform ourselves from within. The raw pain of Sarah's revelation hung heavy in the air, but beneath it, a fragile possibility began to emerge. Lily's anger was intense, a rightful reaction to a lifetime built on a devastating secret. She felt betrayed, confused, and deeply hurt by her mother's deception. Yet, as the initial shock subsided, a flicker of understanding began to surface. Sarah, with quiet dignity, explained the terror she'd lived with, the impossible choice she had faced, and the unyielding love that had driven her actions. It wasn't an excuse, but an explanation that slowly, painstakingly, began to chip away at Lily's walls. For David, the truth was a harsh mirror reflecting his own past mistakes. He knew he had to confront the source of Sarah's torment. He immediately began the arduous process of untangling himself from any lingering ties to the shadowy world he'd once inhabited, a world where figures like Leo Rossi thrived. He made it his mission to ensure Rossi, now a distant but still formidable threat, could never again cast his shadow over their lives. This wasn't just about severing business ties. It was about fundamentally altering his own ethical compass, leaving behind the reckless ambition that had inadvertently put his family in peril. David dedicated himself to rebuilding. He spent countless hours talking to Lily, explaining his own regrets, his naivete, and the profound grief he'd carried. He didn't sugarcoat his past, but laid it bare, showing her the depth of his remorse and his desperate desire to be the father she deserved. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, Lily began to see beyond the anger, to recognize the immense sacrifice her mother had made and the profound pain her father had endured. She started asking questions about David's life, about Sarah's life before her, piecing together the fragmented narrative of her origins. A bond, tentative at first, began to form, built on raw honesty and a shared understanding of deep-seated hurt. David, true to his word, began to pivot his entire business empire. He shifted his focus from aggressive acquisitions to ventures that had real, positive impact, investing in community projects and sustainable developments. It wasn't just a business decision. It was a soul-cleansing, a way to channel his immense drive into something meaningful. Sarah, seeing his genuine transformation, cautiously opened her heart again. The love that had once bound them, though dormant for decades, still smoldered beneath the ashes of their past. The path to forgiveness was long and winding, filled with difficult conversations, moments of doubt, and the quiet pain of unspoken words, but each step was a testament to their unwavering commitment to each other and to the newly found possibility of a complete family. Do you believe in second chances? Let us know in the comments below. 6 months later, a very special birthday would become a powerful symbol of their new beginning, a testament to love's enduring power and the profound grace of forgiveness. Sometimes, true happiness isn't about finding what was lost, but about rebuilding it from the ground up. 6 months after that life-altering reunion, Lily celebrated her 24th birthday. This wasn't just any birthday. It was a day overflowing with the kind of joy that comes after a long, arduous journey. Both David and Sarah were there, their presence a palpable symbol of their new, fragile, yet fiercely protected family. The laughter that echoed through the intimate gathering was genuine, unburdened by secrets. It was a testament to the hard work, the difficult conversations, and the boundless love that had brought them to this precious moment. As a special gift, David presented Lily with a new family ring. It wasn't the original heirloom, but a bespoke piece, subtly incorporating elements of the old design while featuring a fresh, vibrant stone. This, he told her, his voice thick with emotion, is for our new beginning. A reminder that some stories aren't about what's broken, but about what we build anew, together. It was a promise, a symbol of a legacy reimagined, passed not just through blood, but through love and healing. 3 years later, Sarah and David stood before friends and family once more, not just as separated individuals, but as husband and wife, renewing vows that had been broken by circumstances beyond their control, and now, finally, made whole. Their second wedding was a quiet, intimate affair, filled with tears of joy and the palpable sense of a dream finally realized. It wasn't just a ceremony. It was a celebration of perseverance, a declaration that love, when true, can indeed conquer all. David, transformed by his journey, had gone beyond merely disentangling himself from his questionable past. He made a profound choice, driven by a newfound purpose. He transferred a significant portion of his hotel empire to a charitable foundation dedicated to supporting families in crisis, a direct response to the pain and separation he and his own family had endured. Sarah, with her innate warmth and wisdom, stepped into a new role, spearheading the foundation's outreach programs, turning one of the former luxury hotels into a vibrant community center. Lily, inspired by her parents' resilience and newfound commitment, graduated from college with honors. She took the reins of one of the remaining family hotels, infusing it with her own innovative vision, creating spaces that foster connection and well-being rather than just luxury. The story of David, Sarah, and Lily isn't just about a lost ring or a shocking secret. It's a powerful narrative about the human capacity for forgiveness, the enduring strength of family, and the incredible possibility of second chances. It reminds us that truth, however painful, can set us free, and that even when life throws its most impossible challenges, love and resilience can lead to the most beautiful, unexpected endings. If you love this story of reunion and second chances, hit that like button and subscribe. Then, click on the next video on your screen, where we uncover another extraordinary journey of finding oneself and rebuilding broken trusts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss other inspiring stories from Echoed Stories.